This is not the usual type of content that I make here on my channel. However, this is a very serious topic and it needs to be addressed. And that is about the rumors and the alleged sexual relationships that NC Spidey has been having with minors. So back in March of this year, I attended Animate as Lisa Garland. It was my first time ever attending this cosplay convention. I even made a full vlog on my YouTube channel documenting my experience with this. However, when I was attending this convention, I met this cosplay NC Spidey. He was dressed up as Carlos from Resident Evil 3, and seeing as how I was a big fan of Resident Evil, and then also just cosplaying Silent Hill, which is very similar to the franchise, we ended up taking a photo together and swapping Instagram handles. Now, during my time at this event, I literally only had maybe a 5-minute conversation with this cosplayer before we took our photo. I never got any sort of weird vibes from this person. They seemed very polite, very nice, and I kind of just left it at that. However, back in June of this year, I received this message from this individual. This person claims that NC Spidey has been having sexual relationships with the girl in high school and claimed to have actual text message proof of this. I was very hesitant to believe or take this individual very seriously for multiple reasons. Number one being their username handle kind of just seemed like something a child would make up. Nevertheless, even though I felt like this was a troll just trying to spread some sort of rumors, I wanted to hear them out just in the case that they were telling the truth. After asking them a series of questions, this individual took several months before ever actually responding back to me, even though I knew that they were reading my messages. Now, they presented me with a series of different screenshotted text messages of the supposed sexual relationships that NC Spidey has been having with an underage girl. My problem with these text messages is he doesn't exactly explain how he got a hold of these screenshots, and if I'm being entirely honest, the screenshots are cropped in a way that they look pretty generic. I was also extremely hesitant to believe this individual, not only because they would purposely evade answering any of the questions that I would ask and leave me on red for long periods of time, but also because I'm aware how advanced AI is. Now, I have a very minimal experience whenever it comes to AI-generated content. However, I'm very aware that AI-generated text messages are a possible thing. My next course of action that I wanted to take was gather a little bit more data on this whole situation because, again, this individual was evading my questions, and the supposed proof that he presented wasn't really convincing enough for me on my part. I'm a big believer of the justice system. I believe that someone is innocent until otherwise proven guilty. So I decided to reach out to my good friend William about the situation. I wanted to see if William had also received any messages like this, or maybe even some of the other local cosplayers in the community, if they've ever gotten any messages from this person. Because unfortunately, that's the way cancel culture works. Sometimes people will create very drastic rumors about an individual in the hopes of trying to fear-monger other people into spreading a bigger rumor. And I didn't want to fall down that rabbit hole, especially if it ended up being untrue. However, I also wanted to step up and speak about this issue because this is something that could potentially harm a lot of people. And as someone who has a somewhat larger following on TikTok and Instagram, I felt like it was somewhat my responsibility to properly address this to the public. My friend William told me that he never received any messages from this individual, and as far as he's aware, none of our friends in the group who's also met NC Spidey and taken photos and content with him haven't ever received any messages from this. So I felt like this was a bit shady. In my eyes, I felt like I was being targeted to be pulled into this situation. Probably because I have a little bit of a larger following than other people, and I did not like that at all. So after a little bit of back and forth with William, we ultimately decided that it would be best if I myself confronted NC Spidey about the situation. After a very long and tedious conversation with NC Spidey, he told me that he believes he knows who this individual is, and that he's an old friend of his. Now, he does not go into detail about this individual. He does not give me any sort of names. The only thing he tells me is that this person has a long history of alcohol abuse. I warned NC Spidey about the possible legal repercussions of this and how harmful this could really be to his career. And I advised him that this is slander and he should take proper legal action, maybe even consider a restraining order, especially if this person is local and they are targeting other local cosplayers. Earlier this week, this individual reached back out to me, claiming that I was stupid and that he explained to me why he couldn't respond to my messages, claiming that he left comments on my page. Even though I have made explicit posts talking about how I myself don't read most of my comments, I know that this isn't true because my friends would have told me if someone was leaving comments on my page, especially about a matter this serious. And that's not even talking about the fact that this is a very serious matter that should not be discussed in comment sections. It should be discussed directly in my DMs. Because of this person's inadequate behavior, I decided to block them, thinking that they were a troll. However, I was concerned because I knew that this person was local, I knew that they know what I looked like, and I knew that they knew I was going to be attending GalaxyCon this weekend. I had no way of knowing who this person was, what they looked like, or if they were even a danger to my safety, especially knowing that they have a long history of alcohol abuse. So I reached back out to NC Spidey addressing my concern. And here's when things take a really weird turn. Asking him about this and trying to get confirmation, NC Spidey just leaves me on red this entire week. I reach back out to my friend William about this issue, and William tries to reach out to NC Spidey to see if we can get a clear answer. This was no longer a matter of possible slander, this was regarding my own safety as a woman. However, even William's attempts at getting a clear answer as to who this person is falls flat. And that's really what drives me today to make this video. Because now NC Spidey is leaving my messages completely on read, he's also unfollowed me, which is extremely strange, and he's made his account private. Now, I don't want to jump to any conclusions because I feel very strongly that there's more to the story that's actually being shown. There's something going on. I don't fully understand it, but this isn't the type of behavior that an innocent person would exude, especially towards someone who is genuinely just trying to understand and help the situation. I don't plan on making any more posts about this whole situation. Hopefully this is the only time I'm ever going to have to make any public posts about this, because I genuinely don't want to get involved. I never asked to be involved. Quite frankly, it doesn't even make any sense that I would have to step up and I would have to address this issue, as this seems like a very private matter that I just don't have all the pieces to the puzzle for. But I want you all to be wary of this individual. Whether it's true or not that he's having sexual relationships with a girl in high school, his behavior is not normal. He's made no public PSA post about this person supposedly trying to slander him. He's even gone as far as to ask anyone who gets comments from this person to just go ahead and delete it. It's almost as if he's trying to cover the whole thing up. I really hope that by making this post that I'm spreading genuine awareness of the situation. Again, I have no idea whether or not he's actually having sexual relationships with the minor, because again, the supposed evidence that I was given doesn't really answer a whole lot. If anything, it actually leaves more questions than actual answers about the situation. But I just want you all to be aware of what's going on and to maybe take some precautions to stay safe if you're in the North Carolina convention area. I know that NC Spidey also attends cosplay conventions in Charlotte as well as in Raleigh, and I think that that's just important to keep in mind. As of the making of this video, it is currently Friday, the day before GalaxyCon. I plan on attending this convention for both Saturday and Sunday, and just like with any of my other cosplay conventions, I plan on making a full vlog video of this. I do not plan on being alone at all for this convention for my own safety. I'm going to be attending this convention with my local friends. We're all going to stay together. Even whenever I go to the bathroom, I plan on having at least 1 or 2 friends follow me to the bathroom. I don't know if I'm in any actual danger. Because of my weird involvement in the situation. But genuinely, I'm just trying to spread awareness from my perspective as someone from the outside looking in.